Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Let me do this video before these children erupt. My name is Kyrie, the Hood Mystic. I'm an author, astrologer, here with another video to discuss some spiritual things. You know what I've been doing on my Instagram channel that's kind of fun. I got books that I've never read. So, not that I've read parts and bits and pieces and shit like that. However, I have a difficult time with focusing. So, I use these YouTube, I post it on YouTube, but I'm also using my IG to read. So today, it's hard to see this title of this book due to here we go. Love is a Fire by Llewellyn Vaughan Lee. And today we're going to be talking about surrendering. Now, with me, everything comes easy, but that wasn't always the case. I worked hard to get to a point where everything comes easy to me. And now I'm at a point in time in my life where I just want to share and I want to help. I continuously want to grow, and I don't want to get stagnant in my spiritual journey under no circumstance. So I wake up every day like it is my first day. It is a new beginning. It is a new time. And I just want to help people understand the concept of surrendering, because in my work and in my life, with my children, with everybody that I know, is more of an idea of people using their mind constantly, people working very, very hard, putting forward towards a lot of effort towards the spiritual journey or to life in general. And I get it, because that was cool. I did that too. But my goal is, what are you working hard towards? And when you work hard towards something, what is the particular result? For me, I've worked hard to make my life easier. I've worked hard to make my life better. So if you're doing that, cool. But sometimes people can work hard to make their life worse by separating themselves, isolating themselves, and putting themselves in a worse off position. So one of the themes that we've been working with the past month, 2 months, is not being alone. I know that this is the internet, and even being in a relationship or whatever circumstance you might find yourself in, you could still be alone. And when you are alone, that puts you into the realm of being lonely. And when you're lonely, you can't be happy. Even when you start to create delusions and psychoses and phantasms of happiness, the reality is that you're not being triggered, you're not being challenged, and you're not being driven to be your best self. And usually people bring that out of us, right? So when we're not around people and we're not exposing ourselves to other people, we can't actually and honestly imagine ourselves to be in the spiritual or on the spiritual journey. But let's read. We're talking about surrender, and we're talking about how we can surrender to our spiritual life and everything gets taken care of. But it sounds graceful and easy and simple, but it's actually hard work. So let's read to gain an understanding. And we're reading from Love is a Fire by Llewellyn Vaughan Lee. Peace to the tribe. Peace to everybody. Thank you all for joining me this morning. In our aloneness, we are held, journeying from the isolation of our own ego to a sense of belonging, of being known for who we really are. On this path, we have to make every effort, more effort than we ever believed possible, and yet everything is given. This is one of the most bewildering realizations, the paradox of the effortless path. You cannot reach the goal without effort, and yet your own effort will not even take you to the first way station. So this is why this is why we're studying the Kabbalah. This is why we're studying the Hebrew letters on my YouTube channel, because what we're attempting to do is teach spiritual strength, spiritual gymnastics, how to work out your spiritual mind by just simply reflecting on the letters, meditating on the letters, because these letters are the root to your understanding, whether you know it or not. A, B, C, D, E, F, G is not an original concept. These concepts that we feel is fundamental are only birthed out of the Kabbalah, are only birthed out of the Hebrew letters, Aleph, Beth, Gamel, Daleth, and then in Greek, y'all know Alpha, Beta, Gamma. In our language, A, B, C, D. None of these are original concepts. These concepts are birthed from our soul. So when we reflect on the tarot, when we reflect on the astrology, we're reflecting on the spiritual muscles and gaining that strength. Okay. Here lies the mystery of surrender. We make every effort, but finally we can only surrender. This what happens when you hit a brick wall, when life gives you nothing but roadblocks and obstacles. For me, this happens a lot. And for me, I surrender a lot. Okay? Only his arms can carry us over the threshold. A man was laying on the bed crying because he wanted to grow up. One woman present said that means to become self-sufficient. But a man who was also present said no, it means to surrender. So what are we talking about? We're talking about growth and development. So to simply explain this, to grow to be 6'5", what effort did the man put to become that tall? Very little, if any. It's what's called genetics. So when we look at our iniquities, this is what happens naturally. We naturally grow. We naturally grow. From our root existence, we grow. Now, when we have iniquities, when we have deformities, when we have depression, psychosis, negative thoughts and emotions, isolation, we are out of our natural state. And so, how do you grow? I hope you can understand the paradox, because I'm speaking paradoxical. So for most people, it'll lose you because your brain is fixed on effort to grow. You have to work, you have to be, you have to exist, you have to kiss ass, you have to twerk a little bit, you have to wear leggings, you got to make money, you got to save, you got to have life insurance, health insurance, car insurance, Spotify, Venmo, Zelle, EBT, all of these things. But if I told you, none of that equated to growth, because growth comes from surrender, because our highest heights, there has never been a person that came with a formula to teach you, to help you how to grow. You either tall or you short. We know this intrinsically. This is why we don't look online for how to get taller or how to make our feet larger and things of that nature. However, how deep has the psychosis gone when people are going to Dr. Miami to get BBLs, to augment their body, as if, so to think, like, so where's your soul in all of this? Where's your soul in all of this? For so many years, we struggled to stand on our own feet, to give up our patterns of dependency. This is a necessary part of our journey to value our own self and to make our own contribution to life. But self-sufficiency belongs to the sphere of the ego. Y'all don't hear me. Whenever you get on the internet and you hear the righteous, like you're going to hear it 99% of the time. You got to take care of yourself. 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 You don't need no man, because if you deal with a man, you know something bad might happen. You don't need no woman, because if you deal with a woman, she gonna put you on child support. Things of that nature. The dimension of the self knows a deeper truth, that we are dependent on the soul. He is the light of our life and gives us all we need. So this is a reflection, this is an understanding, and the reality of this reflection and the reality of this understanding is that you can't fake it. You can't fake it, because your dependency on survival is not a dependency on who you are as a soul. So to surrender is not to be dependent on what might negatively happen. So you need to protect yourself because you need your Spotify account. You need your insurance. You need your house. You need your car. You need the car insurance. You need to go on a vacation. You need to shake your ass when Uncle Luke come on. You need to drive down I-90 East, because if you ain't driving down I-90 East to get to where you need to get to, you can't sit home and meditate. And if you can't, like, you got to do so much shit that begins to be the thing. And the soul is just, there is no time created for it. There is no realization on who you actually rely on. And when you're doing all of the bullshit that you call life, guess what's happening? Your heart beating, you're breathing, blood circulating through your body, and none of the shit that you're doing is assisted in that. Even deeper, it's cutting that shit off. This is why some people can live to 99. Some people can live to 44 because of the shit that they were doing in life. It's not random, as we might think. It is the reflection on self. You might look at your grandma and she don't really do too much now, do she? She just sit and is within herself. She ain't out and about, and at a certain point, they all stop whatever it is that they was doing. Oh, she was driving that car till she was 78. But when she was 88, she wasn't driving it. It becomes a point of self-reflection. Every human being comes to this point where they can do the things that you're doing everything. Your grandma watch you go in and out the house all day. She in the house. All right, I see you when you get home. Why is that? Y'all live in the same existence, in the same time, in the same understanding. Your grandma is not on social media at all. Don't even know what the fuck is going on. But in your mind, it is the thing for which is the thing to keep you alive. But your grandma not on social media. Your granddaddy definitely not on social media. But y'all both are, all three of y'all are existing in space and time. Why? Because all three of y'all are existing because of y'all soul, not the things that y'all do. Your grandma and grandpa can go to bingo. You can go to the club. Y'all all gonna come home, go to sleep, wake up. And all of that is due to the soul. Yet and still, you trying to convince your grandma to listen to Beyonce with you. You trying to bring people into your world when We all have a world, and it's called the soul, that is leading us and guiding us. Some people's soul, whether you believe it or not, is leading them directly down a cliff because they need to experience that karma so they can evolve to say, I'm no longer going to fall off that cliff again. And you screaming to the top of your lungs, don't fall off that cliff. Don't jump off that cliff. Guess what's going to happen? They're not going to listen to you. You're not going to be following your soul. And the same thing is going to happen. So the reality of life is to reflect on your soul, because that's what's keeping you alive, not saving a nigga. Because you're not. Because I don't know if y'all was like me when I was a teenager in my 20s. People could give me the best advice in the planet, and I'd be like, you know what? That's the best advice I ever fucking heard in my life. And you gave that to me free of charge? I can use that advice and implement that in my life and make my life better? You giving me this advice, man? You know what I'm going to do with this advice that you giving me that could change my life forever? I'm going to fucking throw it in the fucking toilet and trash and shit on it and walk down the street, because fuck your advice. I got to learn these lessons on my own. I got to learn shit the hard way, my guy. Fuck those lessons. That was me. Maybe that wasn't y'all. Whether you know it or not, yourself knows a deeper truth that we are dependent on the soul. The soul is the light of our life and gives us all that we need. So when you look at me and you're around me and you're trying to understand me, I don't depend on you. I depend on myself, but myself loves me unconditionally. So it's teaching me how to treat your dusty ass. Stepping into cause I'm dusty, and my soul says, you know what, Kyrie? You talk about success, you talk about the things that you want, but then if I was to pat you on the back, it would have looked like a small dust storm. How do you want to be successful? You don't want to look successful. You don't want to carry yourself like you're successful. And I hear myself say that to me. How can I not strive to be a better person, to appear better, to work out, to shop, to get clothes? But it's surrendering to the thoughts, surrendering to the idea that what I want and what I desire is not a reflection of people. It's a reflection of me and what I must do for myself. And when you don't take that accountability, when you don't reflect and surrender to the higher self, you are going to project on somebody, your mama, your daddy, your husband, your wife, your kids, society, the government, men, women, Chinese people, white people, black people. It's somebody else's fault. It has to be somebody else's fault because the government is more powerful than my soul. My wife is more powerful than my soul. My mother is more powerful than my soul. You know what? My soul ain't shit. When it comes to how I'm going to better myself, it's the kids in the community that I need to save. What the fuck? What are we talking about? Save what? Save who? For what? What you going to tell them kids? Get off of TikTok? Them kids might whoop your fucking ass if you tell them to get off TikTok. They might beat your ass into a coma. You better leave those kids alone and let them do them motherfucking hip dances. You better let them get them fucking hip dances off, because you can't stop it. You got shit that you need to do. The world is going crazy. No, you just not connecting to self. It ain't going as crazy as you think, because in 1992, you could be riding some Dayton's at Burger King and a nigga carjack you and steal your rims, and you have to drive home on your fucking axle, nigga. In 92. It been crazy. It been fucked up. It been ghettos. It been hoods. You may never have been there, But these things exist. It's kids struggling right now in horrors that you can't imagine because their mom and their dad is addicted to opioids. Right now, as we having this conversation, kids is starving, hungry. You can act like it don't exist, but it do exist right now. Why? Because in the midst of all of these particular epidemics and crises, the crises that has sustained itself from 2015 and a little bit before into now, this is the opioid epidemic, which nobody talks about. So when you talk about opioid epidemic, you're talking about adults with children who are not taking care of their responsibilities, mainly their children. So what is going to create in the future is a class of citizens that have a specific skill set of being raised by a junkie. Y'all probably have never been around a junkie, but when you tell a junkie something, hey, can you go to the store and get me something? They say, yeah, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna get you something. But they not gonna do it. I'm gonna do this thing for you, and I promise I'm gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. They become a whole zombie that is specifically only focused on the opioid. And I'm saying this because when you take your kids to school and you drop your kids off at school, you say, hi, okay, honey, have a good day at school. I love you. Make sure you drink your fucking milk. I'll see you when you get off. Your daddy will be here with his bitch ass. He gonna be here to pick you up. And if he ain't here, call me. I'll figure something out. Bye, baby. I love you. Are you thinking about the children in there that have mothers and fathers that are addicted to opioids? Or do you just block that out of your mind? So when the children are literally raised by TikTok and develop these ideologies and psychologies, like it is a TikTok phase, right, of people with Tourette's, right? And these people with Tourette's talk about their disease, their syndrome on TikTok. You know what the kids do? They mimic having Tourette's. So you don't know, they want to be in class and say shit, dick, fuck, like the person on Tourette's. And, you know, they want to be popular. So they go to the doctor and say, I got Tourette's. Why? Because I seen it on TikTok. So don't ever think you doing a good job by dropping your kid off in public school. And if, as long as your community ain't ravaged by opioids, which you find me a community that's not, you find me an area that's not, then everything that we look around and we see, the dilapidation, the houses for sale, the causes of destruction, is because responsible people have become overnight irresponsible. Supply chain, all of the workers, because of the conditions of their work. I'm going to go into this one thing and I'm going to continue reading, but there's this study where they have the mice and they doing a test on opioids. So some mice got a whole bunch of people around them, whole bunch of mice around them rather. And it's a mice community. It's mice beaches, it's mice friends, it's mice hangouts, things of that nature. And then it's mice that's isolated. They just go to mice school and they go to mice home. Now, they propose opioids to the mice that was alone. And the mice that was alone became addicted to opioids. They proposed opioids to the mice that had the mice beaches, the mice friends, the mice restaurants. The mice that was around other mice, I like saying mice for some reason, they didn't even want the opioids. This is why when you have a strong family structure and you have friends, you might not even consider opioids. But this is where you have to have compassion, and you have to reflect, and you have to be outside yourself and understand unconditional love and say, my experience is not everyone's experience. There's a deeper experience that's happening in the world, that because I'm fortunate and grateful to have a family that loves me, to have a support system that supports me, I'm not going to go on that path. Loneliness leads to drug usage, but even deeper, pain leads to drug usage. Not being able to talk and communicate leads to drug usage. So most people are listening and intaking information, and it's building up within them, and they have no way of outletting themselves, and the only way they can outlet is through drugs and alcohol, opioids, and things of that nature. And most of these teens and 20-year-old people, they do not have a voice. They do not have a voice. So the only thing that listens to them is the drugs. So I'm saying all of this to say, maybe your life is perfect. Maybe your life is great. But that's not in relation to your soul. Because your soul is connected to other souls. Your soul is a small piece of the larger whole that rests within inside of you to have an individualized experience. The least that you could do is elucidate your awareness to your soul and become a beacon to other people. This is how you help people. This is the only way you can help people, by becoming the best version of yourself. We have to discover what really matters to us. What is the most important thing in our life? And then have the courage to live this deepest dream. See, the thing that matters to me the most is having a threesome. But not just, no, I'm just joking. Not just any threesome. I'm talking like, it comes from trauma. That's a trauma. It comes from trauma because I was going on these dates, and I had two girls, and then like they went on a call, and something inside of me just couldn't wait in the car. I had to like hear what was going on. Man, I put my ear to that hotel room door. They was fucking in some form of bliss that I ain't never heard before. Everybody was fucking moaning. I was like, what the fuck is going on in this place? And I was like, man, that sounds very interesting. Like, so that's where that comes from. But that's what I be talking about. Like, threesomes a lot of times where it's like fucking insecurities and motherfuckers like thinking and talking and shit. Like, I'm talking about orgiastic type shit, hedonistic type shit. That is the most important thing to me. And that's what I work for, actually. I want to work so hard and be at a position to where every night is an orgy. And that's just how shit is. Because why not? Right? Why just be like, let's just live a life where we just don't have no sex whatsoever. But I'm figuring like when I turn like 18, I mean when all the kids is out the house, and just have like a swinger den. This motherfucking. But when you think about the gods and goddesses, right? In ancient times, what is that? American Gods. That's how she would walk. Like, that was what's happening. She was the queen, and she'd just be sitting there, and everybody around her just be fucking, because that's the energy. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to sit and talk to you. I want you to give me some motherfucking neck, like, at the root. But in life, you be like, you can't really say that. You can't really be in that energy. But then I think, shit, fuck you can't. Motherfuckers is living like that. So, I don't know. You just got to figure it out for yourself. That's how I feel. What is the most important thing to you? Because the most important thing to you might be to sit and read a book and whatever. So, figuring that out. Let's read this again. We have to discover what really matters to us. What is the most important thing in our life? And then have the courage to live this deepest dream. Carl Jung said, find the meaning and make the meaning your goal. Whatever is the most meaningful should be your purpose, whether this is to be a successful businessman or to climb a mountain. But if this one thing is to realize this truth, then you are a mystic. For me, I feel like I live for truth, and that's part of my confusion about everything. What is truth? Especially when you come to the realization that people can't be honest with you until they're honest with themselves. So finding your deepest bliss and finding your deepest purpose is something that you really have to embrace. But in general, people are embracing their fears. People are embracing their ego. What if I don't have it? What if I don't get it? So let me hedge my bets here. Let me hedge my bets there. So if it don't happen, I'll have this cushion to fall back on. And me, it's like, this is all I got. All I got is my herbs. You know what I'm saying? All I got is my voice. All I got is my herbs. I don't know what it amount to at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? I got my CDLs. I go get a job at UPS tomorrow and probably make more money. But I wouldn't have the time and energy to devote to the things that truly bring meaning to me. So it's always like a roll of the dice. But now I'm getting to the point that if spirituality is real and input equals output, then my effort shouldn't be on tangible things, but intangible things. So I'm just investing more time into my spiritual work. And that's why I'm doing these videos. That's why I'm more in this space of rediscovering and reclaiming my energy and my understanding. And yeah, because, you know, for a moment, I was lost in transformation, right? But when you evolve and come out of that transformation, it feels fucking amazing. But you really have to go through that weird surrender to what is about to be. And, you know, you have to, that's the effort. And to follow the path of a mystic takes courage, because you are doing something which does not belong to the mind or to the senses, but to the unknown and the unknowable. Very key. This is why it's so important to surrender. It's all relating to surrendering. It's never relating to the thing that is so significant. What do you do if you punch your baby daddy in the throat and he started choking, and it's like, surrender to the fact you punch your baby daddy in the throat. Do what you got to do. Go to the court, take your charges, do your time like a man. Like you shouldn't have punched him in the throat. Surrender, because in that temper tantrum is some accountability that's not being taken. And what accountability is, my mother was an accountant, so that word, it means something to me. Let's look at accounting. In accounting, you have accounts receivable and you have accounts payable. Now, an accountant makes sure that the accounts receivable are balanced and the accounts payable are balanced, so the company can see where their profits are, if they are making profits at all. Because what's the purpose of having a business if it isn't profitable? To be accountable is to say that the energy that I'm putting out is the energy that I'm receiving, and this is my accountability. So when a man says be accountable, he's usually a good man. Right? A piece of shit nigga ain't gonna say accountable. A piece of shit nigga say do whatever the fuck you want to do, because at the end of the day, I'm about to manipulate you, I'm about to have sex with you, and when I'm done with you, you ain't even going to see me again. I'm going to continue living my life. So why would I need to hold you accountable? Does that make sense? So a good man is going to tell you to be accountable because he is doing something good for you. To balance the books, to balance the business, because a relationship is a business. I'm taking you out to dinner. We're not saying the fucking waitress isn't handing you a check and you paying that nigga with the love of your fucking heart. Have you ever paid a bill with the love of your heart? Or do you pay with money? How do you make money? Through business? Yeah, I think so. Taking care of business? Yeah, I think so. So if I'm going to be in a relationship, we gonna have to take care of business. So in order for us to take care of business, the main point of business is to be accountable. The reason why my mother will always have a job is because she's an accountant, because all business needs accountants. If they don't have an accountant, they don't know if they're profitable. It's like, and most people struggle in business because they don't do the accounting. They don't know how much they're spending in their business. They don't know how much they're making in their business. And the money that they're making, they're just spending. So when it all comes down to the realization of how much money do I have, am I making money or am I losing money? You're no doubt losing money if you're not doing the accounting, if you're not looking at the data that's coming in reference to your business. So to be accountable is to be aware of what's happening in your relationship and say, this number ain't right. Let me adjust this number. So, of course, women can be accountable because most accountants are who? Women. They're great with numbers. So let's finish this up. As the Sufi Inyat Khan said, it's like shooting arrows in the dark. You hear me? You see the bow and the arrow, but you don't see the target. So, to help you understand what I'm talking about in surrender, the thing that means the most to you, which is probably love and affection and connection, is probably what is the most meaningful thing to you. And if you can't come to that realization, think about how your soul is connected to you and is helping you breathe, helping your heartbeat. You're not consciously doing these things. Your soul is there to keep you at an equilibrium, keep your everything that's happening, trillions of cells, billions of neurons, gallons of blood, miles of intestines, miles of veins, billions of nerves, everything. You are so complex that you need to start loving yourself. You need to start being aware of how powerful you are, and what is keeping that going is your soul. So that's your first relationship. Most people don't establish this first relationship. Most people are not going to surrender to this first relationship. They're going to put all of their stock on the external relationships. And what's going to happen? They're going to feel fucked up about it. They're not going to feel the results that they desire because that's not your first relationship. Your mother is not your first relationship. Your soul is your first relationship. It is your enduring relationship. It teaches you how to love your mother. It teaches you how to love your brother. It teaches you how to love your kids. It teaches you everything that you need to know, because this complex thing that you are is not a result of you. It is a result of your soul. It is a result of the divine consciousness. So the same energy that creates trees, forests, rivers, lakes, mountains created you too. And it's not some random set of occurrences. It is an intelligent design, and this is you too. So why wouldn't you surrender to the thing? This is not a journey of the mind. It's not a journey of effort. This is not a journey of knowing. This is a journey of submission, a journey of surrender. And this is the work. Because when you submit into that work, you're also submitting into a level of unconditional love that, unfortunately, your husband can't give to you. Your wife can't give to you. Your wife could love you. She could suck your dick every fucking night. She could twerk. She could be a stripper. She could be a teacher. She could be a healer. She could make millions of dollars. But when it comes to your heart beating, she wouldn't be able to, as she has to go do a TED Talk. So she can't be working a defibrillator, keeping your heart beating. You dig? So the book that we've been referencing is Love is a Fire by Llewellyn Von Lee. Just trying to keep my reading shit going on and consistent, and then trying to inspire y'all to get some good books that'll help y'all along your spiritual journey, books that have helped me, and books that I just want to read more, but I want to share as well. So with that being said, hope you're able to grab something from this video and learn how to surrender to your soul and not fixate and focus so much on your effort and your wishes and your desires, but more fixating on the surrendering aspect. I'm not only a client of the surrendering school of thought, I'm actually the president. When it comes to anything that I needed to really happen in my life, if I really needed to pay a bill, if I really needed to make some money, if I really needed a vehicle, whatever I really needed, and I know that my mind couldn't figure it out, I would just surrender to that. And then I would wake up and the problem would be solved. So with that being said, learn how to surrender to solve your problems. I'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace.